So, CBS Sports posted this article of every single team, all 32 teams actually, their ceiling and their floor. And while some of the teams made perfect sense, 5 and 12 misses the playoffs with the Arizona Cardinals, the floor is 0 and 17. I wanted to see, okay, what about our team? Who Dey Nation? What about the Cincinnati Bengals? And after taking a look at some of the other AFC North teams we have right here, 12 and 5 reaches AFC Championship game. Florida 9 and 8 and misses the playoffs, which I think their floor is a little lower than that. But again, it depends if Lamar Jackson can stay healthy or not. And then obviously the Cleveland Browns here. Let me just go down real fast. 11 and 6 and 8 and 9 missed the playoffs. I think that's a little bit too nice of them. Win the AFC North? Wait, what? I just read that. My brain just processed that. Their ceiling is win the AFC North? I don't think that's going to happen. I'll be honest, I don't think that's going to happen. But anyway, though, so here's what they have for us. They have our ceiling, which is 14 and 3, and win the Super Bowl. My opinion is, I think, and again, this I think is realistic. I know someone's going to say, that's not realistic at all. I think it's realistic. Our ceiling, in my opinion, is 17-0. 17-0 and win the Super Bowl. We could go 17-0 this year 1,000%. We have the roster to do it. We have the schedule to do it. And other than Buffalo, obviously any of our AFC North games, especially, again, let me just do that real fast. Other than obviously playing our AFC North games, which we'll have to, if winning all of them is going to be very, very challenging and difficult, especially because we play the Ravens on a short week. Last week of the season, we played the Browns when if we're doing this good, it's going to be difficult not to put in our backups versus that game. We do play, obviously, KC, Buffalo, and San Fran. 3 really tough opponents. But I think at the best of the best we can go is 17-0 and win the Super Bowl. I think it's possible. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But I'm going to tell you right now that, you know, if we're saying what's the possible best this team can go, it's 17-0. If anyone's going to do it, and I would say the same thing, by the way, for the Kansas City Chiefs. Even though I don't like the Chiefs, I would say the best thing the Chiefs can do this season, go 17-0 too. That's the ceiling for that team too. There's only a few teams in the NFL I feel that way with. And I will say overall wise, I think obviously the Chiefs, the Bengals, and I would probably say the Bills. Those are the only 3 teams I think could go 17-0 this season. Maybe the Eagles. Maybe. I'd probably say no. I think Buffalo is the only other team. But then even then, maybe not, because the AFC East is so loaded. It's, again, but ceiling, I would say, for those 3 teams would be that. So they have the floor for us at 11 and 6 and lose in the divisional round, which is kind of interesting. Now my floor is, ironically enough, 13 and 4. I don't see how we lose more than 4 games this season. At the worst, I say, okay, well, maybe we lose week 1 to the Browns. I don't think we will. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, right? Okay, we'll say we do lose to the Chiefs. I will cry myself to sleep every single night. Okay, maybe we lose one of the games to the Ravens, right? Okay. Maybe we lose one of the games to the Steelers. That's 4 losses. I don't think we lose any other games. I don't think that San Francisco is the only other tough opponent. Buffalo's tough, but we play Buffalo very, very good. It's in the jungle. We should be good there. San Francisco is a little tough. We go to their house to play them. But Brock Purdy, I don't have faith this year that offense is going to get going. Their defense might get going, but their offense isn't. So I'm not really too scared about that in any way. So again, like I said, I think 13 and 4 is our bottom tier of floor. And I think we lose in the championship. If you're saying, like, the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario, I think, is we lose in the championship, if that being said. Now, for our ceiling, they say back-to-back AFC Championship game appearances, including a Super Bowl appearance, have Cincinnati Bengals as a Super Bowl contender once again. This is what to expect when the Bengals have a franchise quarterback in Joe Burrow throwing to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins every week. Joe Mixon restructured his deal to stay with this offense, who also took Orlando Brown away from the Kansas City Chiefs in free agency. The defense gets better under Lou every year. Cincinnati is the biggest threat to dethrone Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC and win it all. This may be the Bengals' best chance. Yeah, I will say that because this is the last year we're going to have the three amigos together, Boyd, Chase, and T. Although I will say overall wise, I think that Charlie, Chuck Sizzle or Yoshi can really step up and take over for Tyler. And again, it's not impossible to say Tyler does come back if he takes a league minimum type of deal to return to us next year. I don't think he will, but if he does, it's possible, right? So, yeah, I will say overall wise, this is our best chance this year to get it done. I will say for the aspect of having those three guys. The reason why I say that like that is because I think we have a great chance next year and the next couple years too, because of the fact that we're going to have more experience in our safety department, right? We're going to have, Dax Hill with a year of play time as a starter, a year of Nick Scott, a year of, Jordan Battle, a year of DJ Turner, a year of Tyson Anderson. So I think as the years go on, we're actually going to get better because we have those guys here for the next 3 or 4 years. And, the more experience, the better you're going to get. So I think this year is the best chance for that aspect, like for those guys. But I think this is probably the best chance when it comes to how young our secondary is. I think next couple years will actually be a lot better of a chance too. For the floor, there aren't many question marks on the Bengals, although they're going young in the secondary. No more Jesse Bates at safety means Dax Hill and Nick Scott are in charge of replacing that production. Are Cheeto and Cam Taylor-Britt good enough at corners? Burrow's injured calf also lingers, but the Bengals overcame a slow start last season to reach the AFC Championship game. This team has been battle tested in the AFC North, which will help prepare for a gauntlet of a playoffs. I'll be honest with you, and again, like I said, I do understand we have a younger secondary. I don't think that's gonna really take away from much this season, because again, like I said, well, yes, we have a young safety core, and when you say secondary, you're kind of putting it and grouping it all together. We have a very talented cornerback core. Obviously, Cheeto. They don't mention Mike Hilton here, but Mike Hilton's one of the best in the league. We obviously have Cam Taylor-Britt, second year now, one of the best cornerbacks in the playoffs last season, which again is not really talked about as much. And then obviously Cheeto, and then obviously DJ Turner is a new guy, and Jalen Davis is also not really that new. So I don't really think, for our cornerback core, we'll be fine. I don't really have a problem with that as long as everyone stays healthy, knock on wood for that one. But for our safety core, again, yeah, it's young, but it's also very athletically gifted. It's also one of the fastest, most athletic rosters we've had in a long time at that safety position. And yeah, it's going to take some time to, work on and develop. And that's why I said, yeah, I do agree that, that's why I not do agree. That's why I say over the next couple of years, this is going to get better and better because we're going to have more experience. But I do understand their take. And again, 11-6 is not the worst. I could see, maybe at the weirdest point of view possible, then we go 11-6. Maybe somehow, some way. I don't agree with we're going to go 11-6. The only other teams I could see us losing to if we did go 11-6 would be the 49ers somehow. And that, again, I'm not really trusting the offense, but maybe it's one of those games where it's like, okay, we traveled, then you got to deal with the fact that, the defense is OP and they're crazy. And maybe the other game I would say we could lose would be maybe Jacksonville. I would say maybe Jacksonville. That's the only other team. I couldn't see us losing more than 6 games. Where do they have the Pittsburgh Steelers? Let me see the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you have the Pittsburgh Steelers winning the Super Bowl, I am turning this video off. I promise you that. Okay. And I say okay because they didn't have them win the Super Bowl. That's the only reason I say okay. 11-6, win the AFC North. I don't think they're going to win the AFC North. Now, they have all these teams winning the AFC North as their ceiling. But again, this is the best of the best. This is if everything works perfectly fine. And, the moons and all the planets aligned perfectly in a row. 8 and 9 miss the playoffs. Yeah. I mean, overall-wise, I think anyone in the AFC North except for the Bengals could miss the playoffs, and there's a chance they will. But I think all 4 of us will get in the playoffs, in my opinion. But, guys, tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. I'll see you guys next one. Peace out.